Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning into LO3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful land of enchantment. And today's date is Friday, March 20th, 2020. Yep, so they're all talking about lockdowns nationwide. I know I did a report stating it may happen tonight or Friday, and possibly the Tri-County area of South Florida, but like I always said, nothing's set in stone. But always expect these things regardless. So I'm just letting you know my intake on these areas, and it's pretty disturbing, of course. We gotta look at all elements and observe responsibly. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a few today. It shouldn't take that long. But speaking of opportunists, this came out in the World Tribune.com. Pretty cool site. Some people say, "Oh, it's far right." Whatever. This one's here. Senators dump stocks after intel briefings on coronavirus. Critics are calling on 4 senators to resign after it was revealed they sold millions of dollars in stocks in the days before a coronavirus crisis crashed the market. The 4 senators, Republicans, Richard Burr of North Carolina, Kelly Loeffler of Georgia, Jim Inhofe of pronounce the name correctly, of Oklahoma, and Democrat Dianne Feinstein of California, one of my favorite ginos, by the way, dumped the stock prior to the market losing 30% of its value, reports say. Fox News host Tucker Carlson on Thursday called on Burr to resign in the wake of a ProPublica report that said the North Carolina senator sold between $628,000 and $1.72 million of his holdings on February 13th in 33 separate transactions. He dumped his shares in hotel stocks so he wouldn't lose money, and then he stayed silent, Carlson said of Burr, who is chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He had inside information about what could happen, which is now happening. Carlson said there could be an honest explanation for what he did. If there is, he should share it with the rest of us immediately. Otherwise, he must resign from the Senate and face prosecution for insider trading. There's no greater moral crime than betraying your country in a time of a crisis. That appears to be what happened. ProPublica noted that as the head of the Intelligence Committee, Burr, a North Carolina Republican, has access to the government's most highly classified information about threats to America's security. His committee was receiving daily coronavirus briefings around this time. A spokesperson for Burr told ProPublica that the lawmaker made sales before the U.S. and financial markets showed signs of fatality due to the growing coronavirus outbreak. Members of Congress are required by law to disclose their security transactions. On Thursday, Burr came under fire after NPR obtained a secret recording from December 27th in which North Carolina senator gave a VIP group, an exclusive social club, a much more dire preview of the economic impact of the coronavirus than what he had told the public. According to the NPR report, Burr told attendees of the luncheon held at the Capitol Hill Club, "There is one thing I can tell you about this. It is much more aggressive in its transmission than anything we have seen in recent history. It's probably more akin to the 1918 pandemic." He warned that companies might have to curtail their employees' travel, that schools could close, that the military might be mobilized to compensate for overwhelmed hospitals. The luncheon was organized by the Tar Heel Circle, a club for businesses and organizations in North Carolina that are charged up to $10,000 for membership and are promised interaction with top leaders and staff from Congress, the administration, and the private sector. So you have to take a bribe or be extorted to meet with these people. How nice is that, right? Flamboyancy indeed. In February 7th op-ed that he co-authored with another senator, Burr assured the public that the United States today is better prepared than before to face emerging public health threats like the coronavirus, he wrote. No matter the outbreak or threat, Congress and the federal government have been vigilant in identifying gaps in its readiness efforts and improving its response capabilities. Sounds like, yeah, we're vigilant so we can get more control and have you guys kiss the floor we walk on. Feinstein, who serves as a ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and her husband sold between $1.5 million and $6 million in stock in California biotech company Allergen Therapeutics between February 31st and February 18th, the New York Times reported. Feinstein defended herself in a series of tweets on Friday saying she has no control over her assets and stocks in questions for her husband's transactions. During my Senate career, I've held all assets in a blind trust which I have no control. Reports that I sold any assets are incorrect, as are reports that I was at January 24 briefing on the coronavirus, which I was unable to attend, she tweeted. Under the rules, I report my husband's financial transactions. I have no input into his decision. My husband in January and February sold shares of a cancer therapy company. This company is unrelated to any work on the coronavirus, and the sale was unrelated to the situation. Loeffler and her husband, Jeffrey Sprecher, chairman of the New York Stock Exchange. Man, can we say conflict of interest? Wow. Sold stock in January 24th, the same day she sat on a briefing from two members of Trump's coronavirus task force, the Daily Beast reported. Between the day of February 14th, the couple sold stock worth a total of $1.2 million and $3.1 million. The report said, in addition to the sales, they also purchased a stock in a maker of software that helps people work at home, just before millions of Americans were forced to leave their offices because of the outbreak, the report said. Loeffler slammed the Daily Beast report as a ridiculous and baseless attack in a pair of late-night tweets. I don't make investment decisions for my portfolio. Investment decisions are made by multiple third-party advisors without my or my husband's knowledge or involvement, Loeffler wrote. As confirmed in the periodic transaction report to Senate Ethics, I was informed these purchases and sales on February 16, 2020, 3 weeks after they were made. And Hof sold as much as $400,000 in stocks in all on January 27th in companies such as PayPal, Apple, and real estate company Brookfield Asset Management, the New York Times reported. But in a written statement, Inhofe pushed back by saying he was not at a late January briefing and further does not have involvement in investment choices. The statement said, the New York Times allegations are completely baseless and 100% false. I was not at the briefing on January 27th. I was meeting with pro-life kids from Oklahoma here for the March for Life and the new nominee to be U.S. Ambassador to Tanzania. I don't have any involvement in my investment decisions. In December 2018, shortly after becoming chairman of the Senate Armed Service Committee, I was instructed by my financial advisors to move me out of all stocks and info into mutual funds to avoid any appearance of controversy. My advisor has been doing so faithfully since that time. I am not aware of or consulted about any transactions. Well. So interesting, strong allegations there. But we know all you got to do is look at their voting record and see how their constitutional merits are to see if they're corrupt or not. But like I said, one thing, folks, exciting time to be alive, right? Yeah, if that's the case, they should all resign anyway, including Dianne Feinstein, because she's a freedom-hating sap as well. But, like I said, strong claims here. But all you got to do is look into it, and you'll be very damn surprised. So, this one here came from the Florida Phoenix. Governor DeSantis clamps down on beaches, entertainment venues in 2 South Florida counties. It is by Michael Moline. Governor Ron DeSantis issued an emergency order closing beaches, in Broward and Palm Beach counties to prevent spread of COVID-19. The orders also apply to a wide array of businesses catering to crowds, including movie theaters and concert halls. Shown is a spring beach crowd at Clearwater on March 18, 2020. So you can't go in the movies, gym, or beach in Broward or Palm Beach counties anymore, or really any place where people are likely to gather in defiance of COVID-19 related social distancing structures under new executive order signed by Ron DeSantis. Yeah, I did talk about this, but let's see what this person has to say. The order, which appears to take effect immediately and expires on March 31st, unless extended, cites the need to minimize the potential for community spread of COVID-19, the sometimes fatal respiratory disease caused by the new coronavirus. Local officials sought to order to harmonize with Miami-Dade, which had already taken similar steps, the orders says. Oh, how nice. A separate order allows local governments statewide to meet by telephone or video conference to minimize contact between public officials. The usual requirements for public notice of participation under Florida Sunshine Law still apply. Governor acted the same day that state health officials announced the 10th COVID-19 death in Florida. This one in Broward County at midday Friday. Florida has 520 cases. Although DeSantis has refused to close beaches statewide, saying he trusts local officials to gauge local conditions in that regard, he has issued guidelines consistent with federal advice that people cluster in groups of more than 10 people. I know the city of Fort Lauderdale closed their beaches. Okay, so there's some facts behind that. The new order sweeps these businesses anyway, applying to restaurants, bars, taverns, pubs, nightclubs, banquet halls, cocktail lounges, cabarets, breweries, cafeterias, and any other alcohol and or food service business establishments with more than 10 people. If you go to a strip joint, you can have a problem, right? It does not apply to most grocery stores, pharmacies, gas stations, and convenience stores unless they provide seating for more than 10 people. Also exempt are such businesses ancillary to essential services, including airports, post facilities, secure facilities, and hospitals. Business may still offer takeout services. How nice, right? However, all movie theaters, concert houses, auditoriums, playhouses, bowling alleys, arcades, gymnasiums, fitness studios, and beaches shall close unless they are ancillary to hotels or residential buildings or inside fire or police stations. Pretty biased there, right? Let's all go to the beach where those places are, right? This provision order shall serve as minimum standards. Municipalities may impose stringent standards with their jurisdictions. Well, it sounds like more like wants to keep everyone safe. But one thing you got to look at, too, is all the tyrannical elements in these governments may manifest and say, hey, you do as I say. Remember that one governor from Nevada? I'm your master. And I can tell you this is really going to hurt people economically. Look, even my industry, I'm a stagehand, and everything got shut down. So, which is very disturbing indeed. But I always say it should be up to the discretion of the businesses themselves and the people that govern themselves. If you want to stay away from people, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And if you want to always, like I said, always be vigilant on your health. That's the bottom line. You shouldn't really go around horroring or anything like that. In due time, things do backfire. But as I said, I always question these things, and a lot of these government in general, can they explain the meritability on their oath under Article 2, Section 5 of the Florida Constitution? One thing you got to question them for. All right, one more here. As I said, I'm going to make this one brief. This is by the 10th Amendment Center. Actually, it was originally from shiftgo.com, but it's Mike Meharry himself. It says here, government economic help is going to hurt like hell. Many people have likened the battle against coronavirus to a war and invoke imagery of the U.S. fighting World War II. President Trump has deemed himself a wartime president. The president told reporters at a White House briefing that fighting the virus will require a sacrificial national effort, just it took to defeat the Axis in the Second World War. Every generation of Americans has been called to make a shared sacrifices for the good of the nation. To this day, nobody has ever seen it like it. What they are able to do during World War II. Now it's our time. We must sacrifice together because we are all in this together. And we'll come through together. It is an invisible enemy. That's always the toughest enemy. The invisible enemy. But listening to all the rhetoric coming from politicians and pundits, no one has asked where exactly is the sacrifice. The government's promising bailouts for everybody. We're just weeks into the crisis, and there's already an expectation that the government will be sending everybody checks. Peter Schiff called it a bailout nation. Question is, folks, who's going to be bailing us out? The Federal Reserve. So, more debt indeed, right? Apparently, the government wants sacrifice with no pain. Unfortunately, that's not a thing. Americans didn't get checks from the government in World War II. They got higher taxes. Schiff summed it up in a tweet. During World War II, middle-class Americans sacrificed to support the U.S. government's war effort. They paid much higher taxes, substantially reduced their consumption, and loaned their savings to the government. The people support the government can't support the people. Therein lies the ugly truth. There is no sacrifice without pain. The government can bail out the airlines, it can bail out the hotels, it can helicopter money and drop it on your head. You're still going to pay, either through higher taxes in the future or through inflation. In the end, economics always win, and math is still undefeated. Trump is right. You're going to sacrifice for the government's actions surrounding the coronavirus. What he's not telling you is going to hurt. The government and central bank response to the economic crisis participated by coronavirus are creating the perfect storm for price inflation. The problem isn't lack of money, it's lack of stuff. We're all sitting at home and a lot of us aren't producing anything. Uncle Sam can stuff our mailbox with checks. That money doesn't do us a damn bit of good if there's nothing to buy. The end result will be a lot more dollars chasing a lot fewer goods. That means prices will go up. When inflation heats up, interest rates rise. That's the proper response. How exactly is that going to work in a world up to its eyeballs in debt? This is why Schiff keeps saying we're on the path to a dollar crisis. All the money the Fed is printing isn't going to have value. It isn't going to buy anything. Prices are going to skyrocket, and in fact, this coronavirus is accelerating the process because the coronavirus is reducing the supply of goods available to buy. I've always held to the theory that when the doctor tells you this won't hurt a bit, it's going to hurt like hell. You would be wise to treat politicians the same way. When they are telling you the sacrifice won't hurt because they will make it okay, you had better hold on to your wallet because your sacrifice and it will hurt like hell. Can't argue with that, my friends. Can't refute that at all. So, Kio Bono, who benefits? You decide. But I know one thing. Those tyrants and the central banksters are manifesting to have us all submit and become total slaves. to their system. I say to hell with them. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us on social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or me said something interesting I want to check out, whatever you do, please feel free to download. Please feel free to share your correspondences in decorum. In addition, I will leave the footnotes of this episode on my Spreaker page. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.